Okay, now let's look at our next option from the headquarters position. All right, we're going to look at now the cross knee pass. Very, very strong pass. Now with no gi, we're always talking about the differences and things we need to pay attention to. It's a lot slipperier, and guys can slide an underhook in very easily, okay? So that's one thing we have to watch out for. But we're going to use that to our advantage and get control of their head whenever they're looking to use their underhook, all right? So let's go back to the headquarters position, okay? We put him down, we get inside. We're nice and deep, good position. We see the opening for the cross knee, so we start to go to the cross knee, okay? So I'm going to kind of step my foot out to the side, and I'm going to start to shift everything over to my left, okay? So my right foot stepped over and immediately started to drive my right shin over his thigh, all right? Now in a perfect world, I would love to be able to come inside and keep the underhook and get the head and pass with the cross knee, all right? Staying hip to hip and then flatten him up. But at this point, because of the nature of things without the gi, everyone's going to be looking to try to use their underhook, all right? And it's going to be pretty easy for him to find that space because I don't have the collar to pin him down and keep him flat, all right? So at that point when they're coming in, now my mind is going to his head, okay? And trying to lock my hands around his head and using that as control and then looking to see what options he gives to me, okay? So when I'm here and he starts to reach, my other arm is going to come over and wrap around his head, similar to like a guillotine, all right? Now from here, I'm going to kind of come off a little bit, and I'm going to start to lock my hand. So my right hand is coming around his arm, and I'm grabbing the outside of my left hand, just like this, okay? And I'm going to keep my fingers really tight so we can't grab any fingers, okay? And I'm locking up just like this, okay? So my arm comes around. Now my right hand around his arm grabs my hand, and this point of my palm is right under his chin. So when this arm comes around, I'm looking to get that piece of my hand, kind of my thumb pad here, right under his chin, and then my right arm comes around and reinforces that hand by grabbing the outside, all right? And you'll see that my shin is still over his leg at this point. I want to lock my hands and keep that there. He may hook my foot with his other leg and try to keep my foot there, but because it's so slippery, I'll easily be able to slide that out. But now I'm kind of looking to see how he's going to react to this head control, okay? He may try to expand his underhook and walk his hand up even higher on my back, and really open his elbow and try to use that underhook, okay? Or he may get concerned about his neck and bring his hand in to try to fight hands. So he may come inside and try to fight my hands here, all right? Now, on the variation where he comes inside and tries to fight our hands, you'll see that his elbow comes in, okay? So with this kind of like guillotine / front headlock control, if I see his elbow come in to try to fight hands, I'm going to look to transition this control to the Darce choke, all right? So let's turn back this way. So I'm here, my shin is still over his leg. He brings his hand in to try to fight hands. Now his arms are much, closer together. So it's easy for me now to use my left arm here to pull his head in and up, okay? Just like this, and then shoot my right arm through, okay? Here. And now, as my left hand comes around, I'm already grabbing my bicep and starting to lock my Darce choke, okay? Now from here, if he was holding my ankle with his foot, I could easily twist and free that and then step over and get the finish. So if he's not going to keep his elbow out, he's going to try to come in and fight the hands. Now his elbow comes down. It's much easier for me to pass this all the way through to get to the Darce choke, all right? And I'd rather not let go of this front headlock, okay? And when he brings his hand in to try to fight hands, I'm just going to use my front headlock. Look how I bring my elbow in so I get his head into position to allow my other arm to shoot through, twist it over, and I'm already in Darce position, just like this, okay? Let's do it one time this side. So we're here. I had the head He brings his hand in, try to fight hands. Look how I pull his head, and I start to shoot my arm through at the same time. And I can virtually already almost grab this as I'm bringing my arm around to his lat. From here, strong wrists. I can get rid of that leg, step, and now look for the finish. Now, let's look at the other possibility where he opens his elbow and kind of commits to letting me have head control, and he tries to, use the underhook as an offensive tool, okay? So I'm here, same thing, I came in, I got his head, all right, because he was able to get the underhook. I'm controlling, now let's say he's like opening that underhook, yeah, just like this. Now, look at all this space right here, okay? This is what I want to take advantage of, all right? And at the same time, I also want to threaten his neck. I want to squeeze his neck a little bit, okay? So what I'm going to do, when I see all that space, now my mind is thinking about mounting. But I want to mount with this head control, all right? So from here, I'm going to kind of come off a little bit. So you see I take my leg out. And now I'm going to bring my left knee into his ribs, okay? So my left knee is going to come into his ribs, and I'm going to twist, all right? Now when I twist, my ribs are falling on his face here, and I'm getting even more squeeze, okay? So I'm bringing a little more squeeze to this at this point. And now, because he's using that underhook and there's all this space, now I'm going to look to step over and get the mount position. And at the same time, I'm going to keep control of his head because, it's kind of like a backup. If he ever managed to butt me over or anything like that, I'm always going to have the guillotine as a backup, okay? And we're going to look more at that later on. And then, it's kind of like attacking two fronts at the same time. I'm making him think about his neck and the mount together, so he can't defend both, all right? So a lot of times, once I come in here, now his hand, he's getting more concerned about his neck. Now his hands will come in and start to, fight his, to free his head. And when that comes off, now I can just take normal cross-face control, try to come under this arm, and just, keep my mount position, all right? So let's look at that series again. We started in the headquarters, came in, and we look to go to our cross knee pass. Here. Of course, if I can, I'm going to beat that underhook. But like I said, most of the time, they're going to look for it and be able to get their arm in, all right? At this point, I'm coming around his head, and I'm starting to lock the head control, okay? With my thumb pad under his chin, kind of cupping his chin, and my second hand gripping around the edge of my left hand here, okay? So here, my second arm comes around his underhook, and I grip the edge of my hand, all right? If he looks to fight hands, once again, we're coming through, lifting his head up, shooting the arm in for the darce. If he keeps his elbow open, now we're going to bring our knee in and kind of sit a little bit to the side, okay? I'm using my ribs here into his neck. And immediately I'm going to step over, use my head as base, start to look for the mount. From here I can continue to squeeze his head here, all right? The more he wants to fight it and use his hands to get free, now I can just let go and establish my mount position, all right? And later on we're also going to be talking about the guillotine and how we can possibly finish that from here as well, okay? So from the side, one more time. Put him down, headquarters, start to go to our cross knee, looks to underhook, we come around, get head control. He looks to fight hands, we pull, shoot through, get to the darce, step and finish. We're here, he continues to open, now I'm going to bring my knee in, use my ribs to keep his head tight around my arm, and from here I'm going to step, look to get the mount position. From here, the more he wants to fight to let go of the hands, the less he's defending the mount. And we can let go, establish head control, and take the mount position. So once again, you're seeing the transitions, how we understand that he's going to try to get the underhook. We're going to get to head control, always making him think about his neck, okay? Guillotines and darces, things like that. That way we can, not only take the submissions, But when he's defending the submissions, we take the passes as well. And there we're looking to take this to the mount position. Okay, so that's how we're gonna do our cross knee for no gi.